Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As always, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe so you too can be part of the Pink Squad. Hi, hello, how is it going? So today I wanted to do something different. When you're watching this, I think it's Friday. Is it Friday? It might be Friday. Happy Friday. Don't forget, what are you doing this weekend? Because ever since movies stopped coming out, I just don't do much. So let me know so that I can live through you guys. But I wanted to do a life after debt update, I guess is the best way I can call it. So I have been completely debt free. That means car loans, student loans, like the whole shebang for 6 months now. And I'm actually recording this on my 1-year YouTube anniversary, which is so exciting. Like, thank you so much to everyone that watches and supports. Like, you guys are truly rock stars and I appreciate you so much. But I wanted to just do like a little update of like, how are things going? Am I still out of debt? Stuff like that. Just because if you've never seen it, it will be linked at the end of this video. But I used to be severely in debt. I was $60K in the hole. In the video, I can only account for 58, but if I'm being honest, that bad boy had to be close to like 70. So anyways, we're not gonna dwell on that. But I did want to, I guess, like, what it's like after, because honestly, there's a lot that comes with paying off your debt, especially if you did it the way I did it. So I followed, not to go too much into it, but I followed the Dave Ramsey baby steps, which basically means you live on rice and beans, you don't spend on anything, you live very frugal, and you attack your debt like nobody's business. That is exactly what I did. People think it's nuts, people think it's excessive, people think it's too much, but really, if you've never been so much in debt that you can't pay your bills on time, that your account goes negative times a month, where you don't know where you're gonna scrounge gas money for, like, until I feel like you've reached the rock bottom of debt, like, I feel like it's a lot easier to say like, oh yeah, that's excessive or that's too much. Like, let me tell you, rock bottom of debt is a very scary place to be when you find out that you are so in debt that you don't know what to do anymore. That's a different type of feeling. And it's the kind of feeling that you honestly never want to go back to if you attack your debt. So I aggressively attacked my debt. I didn't spend, I didn't buy. Every single stimulus check, every single dollar I found went to my debt. Nothing else mattered but my debt, okay? And that's because I couldn't breathe anymore. It's sad. It's sad to be so in debt that you have no control of your finances, of your life, of your future. Like, it is a scary place to be. If you don't think so, then that's totally up to you. That's your life. But this is, JudySpeaksDinero, so I'm telling you how I felt. But with that, it was a scary place to be, so I attacked it and I fought my way out of it. So I can do a video on the baby steps if you guys want me to explain them, but that is essentially how I handle my money, and those are the steps that I am following so that I can build the wealth that I aspire to have and the future that I aspire to build for myself and, those around me. So yeah, like I said, if you want me to explain it, let me know. I totally can. That's not what this video is, so I don't want to ramble. But, got out of debt, did the thing. And it has been so weird ever since. So, for starters, I still really struggle with the fact of treating myself and buying myself things and spending money and not living frugal, I guess. And it's not even frugal. I wouldn't say I lived frugal, but I definitely don't do unnecessary spending. Unless it's something like I've really been wanting and like I have the money kind of thing, but it literally like it'll be like pens, because that's the thing. I don't buy expensive things. I don't have expensive bags. I don't, the most expensive thing that I spend my money on is food, if I'm being honest with you guys. So I still struggle with that. I struggle with treating myself, even to like getting my nails done, like that's something that I've been going back and forth with, just because I feel like it's unnecessary. But it's really not. Like, the thing is, once you reach a certain point in the baby steps, like, you get to reward yourself, right? Like, you get to enjoy your money and you get to buy the things and do the things you've dreamed of, all of that stuff. Like, it's not like the program tells you that you're not going to spend money ever. Like, that's not what it is. But I personally struggle with it, and it's just because I feel like I'm so behind. Because when I look at all the money that I spent on paying interest and ridiculous things that I shouldn't have purchased, I'm always like, girl, you don't deserve to buy stuff yet. So I do struggle with that. It's something that I'm working on. A lot of the times, honestly, what happens is I go to those closest to me and I'm like, I really want this. And they will basically convince me to actually buy it. So that's honestly how it goes, is I need someone to be like, no, it's okay. Like, almost tell me that it's okay to do something, even though it's my money. So anyways, that is something that I've noticed. Whereas before, your girl could swipe all the money in the world that she didn't have. I would say the second thing that I've noticed is how, so inflation, right? And like all of this happening in the world, like I'm stressed, like I get stressed that gas goes up. I get stressed, stuff like that. And it upsets me because I'm like, it's so much money. Like, what is happening? So it's crazy. But then at the same time, I've had a lot of things come up right now during inflation that I had to cover, a lot of which are like medical stuff. And I will say, like, the feeling of being able to cover those and not have to swipe my credit card is unreal. Like, the fact that I've had really expensive things happen in the span, like, of a couple months that just keeps hitting me, like, back to back to back. And, I don't talk about it because I like to create positive space here. But the fact that those things have come up and I've just adjusted the budget that I wrote with you guys the week before, and I allotted myself the money, and then, I changed what I'm saving, stuff like that. That's all I had to do. And it is crazy to me to be able to do those things, because I never thought that would be a thing. Like, I always had to see what credit card would swipe, which one wouldn't get declined, like which one actually had anything left in it. So it is unreal being able to cover expenses. So I will say that has been amazing. I feel like the only other thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if it's difficult, I don't know how to explain it, but it took a while to pay down my debt, right? Like, it was a lot of months of going hard. And so you'll notice that I almost approach savings challenges how I approach my debt, where I'm just going hard. I'm throwing every single dollar at it. I'm like saving at this like aggressive rate. And I think it's just because it's almost like I need it, like that's something where I'm just like, I need to finish, I need to do it, because I went so long with having to do that with debt that I'm like, well, what now, So And I think a lot of you have noticed that as well, that I do go really hard on the savings challenges and I'm trying to finish them left and right. So, yeah. What else? I feel like those are the biggest things. I think something that I will say that comes up a lot is I do often have people make, I don't know if it's like from a snarky place or like from a negative place. But I have noticed, and I tend to I don't respond to bad comments. I don't acknowledge, the negative vibes. I honestly just delete them and keep it moving because I have so many more nice comments to respond to. But I have noticed that I've had a couple people be like, well, we'll see if you stay out of debt. Or that's only if you stay out of debt. Like, and I'm like, okay. Thanks, I guess. It's comments like that where I'm like, I don't know, I can't, like, are you being positive? Are you being negative? Like, what's wrong? So I will say I've noticed a couple, not a lot, but I have noticed a couple people make comments like that they're like, well, we'll see if you stay this way, or the true test will be if you can stay out of debt. Like, okay, well, let me enjoy not being in it. Sheesh. But I will say, like, there will be comments like that. I have also found that, even people in the real world, when you're like, oh, well, I don't have debt, it's like, what? Like, you don't have a car payment? Or you don't have this? It's like weird. So I don't know. Like, sometimes I can't tell if it's from a good place or if it's from a bad place. I'm all about the positive, happy vibes. So whatever place they're coming from, I send nothing but good their way. But I will say, like, obviously, yeah, okay, like, that's a true test, right? Can you stay out of debt? But like I said, once you reach the, like, rock bottom of being in debt, I find it very hard that someone can go back, if that makes sense. At least for me personally, I can't imagine being in debt again. Like, I can't imagine worrying about that. I can't imagine about owing people money. Like, it's my money. Like, like, I work hard for it and I should be able to do what I see fit with it. And it took me a while to get there, but yeah, like, that's something I've noticed that people will say, like, almost like, she'll be back. But I'm like, no, I won't. You don't know my life. So I would say, like, I think being in debt and getting out of that is a long emotional journey, especially if you are very rigorous like I was and I wasn't spending on anything, and you live a very frugal life, that kind of thing, and you have to say no a lot to things. It's a very draining and emotional journey, but I mean, nonetheless, paying down debt is an emotional journey, right? So I think when it's gone, it's like it was so long a part of my life that I'm like, now what? But that doesn't mean I want it back. I'm just saying, guys, it's a little weird. So yeah, but I wanted to do an update because I feel like a lot of the time the conversation stops after you pay your debt. Like, okay, well, you paid your debt, it's done. But it's like, I know there is some people that do go back into debt, and sometimes it's not for good reasons. It's not like I'm buying a house or anything. If I'm buying a house, that's good kind of debt I'm trying to have. But like, that's the thing. Like, I've had to, like, I guess, train myself, and I've had to do my own research, which I always say, do your own research, please, because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a girl that got into debt, made a mess, and then got out of it. So, but what was I going to say? Oh, but I've had to learn, there is good debt, and that being, like, one day I do aspire to have a home, and that's the only kind of debt I'm trying to have. in the future because, you know, a girl wants her own house. So, yeah, you know, let me know, what is life after paying down your debt or paying off your debt, or if you're in the trenches, how is it going? I've been there, girl, or, you know, guy, whoever's watching, and it sucks. So I get it. But yeah, like I said, I just want to do an update just because I've learned a lot after, and I feel like I've learned even more after the fact. Like, I've learned to save, and I have had to learn to make savings goals, you know, like, okay, how much should I have stored away in case of an emergency? How much should I have stored away in case, you know, like, I don't know, something happens, you know, there people lose their jobs, stuff like that. Like, I've had to really sit down and crunch numbers in those categories and really figure out, like, okay, what are things that I find comfort in, you know, what amounts in each envelope is important for me. And because, you know, I didn't have a sense of security when I was in debt and had a ton of credit cards. I have had to learn to build a sense of security for myself where I'm like, okay, what's going to make me feel safe if things hit the fan? And that's where I have an emergency fund. I have a cash emergency fund for smaller things that if I need, you know, something happens, that's usually like, I keep like $1,000, a cash emergency fund. And, you know, for me, like, medical is also something really important that I always want to have funded, or I always need something in there. Those are the three biggest things I would say. Like, if I were to add one more, it'd probably be my car. But right now I don't, you know, and knock on wood, my car doesn't have any major expenses coming up aside from like tires. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to sit down and think, how am I going to feel safe in myself once and for all? Because I didn't have that for a long time. So if you have questions, let me know. I had never seen someone do an update like this, but I've always wondered, you know, and especially when I was paying off my debt, I was just kind of like, I don't know, it's a lot of emotions and stuff like that. So I was always like, well, what happens after? Do you actually feel better? Because it doesn't feel good right now. So yeah, if you have questions, thoughts, leave them down below. I'd love to hear them. I will respond to them. As always, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe so you too can be part of the Pink Squad. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope you have an even better weekend. Bye, guys.